Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. So, this is a limited series. This is issue 3 of 4. Flex Mentallo by Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly. Love this homage cover to The Dark Knight. Absolutely wonderful. I'm a huge fan of Frank Quietly. Um, Look at this. Just beautiful. Beautiful cover here. Um, yeah. So this is a limited series, and so we have two issues, including this one. Who needs girls when you've got comics? All right. So we're going to continue where we left off. I really do love Frank Quietly's art. He is meticulous. Um, he doesn't put out a lot of work because um, he just, you should see his process. He basically draws these comics 3 times. So he does layouts, but then he gets the layouts with blue and takes them and makes them even more detailed. Then he takes the pencil, so he doesn't ink it, go straight from inking after putting it in blue line. He then takes actual pencils and basically goes over the drawing again, then adding more detail, and then finally he goes to inking. It's very meticulous, but this is why it is so hard to get Frank Quietly to be able to do a monthly book. It is impossible. He would need like a 5 year head start, and he's only gonna maybe do, um, if you're lucky, he'll get 20 issues out of that 5 year start. So, all right. I don't believe in superheroes. Sure, I've seen the out of focus pictures, I've read the eyewitness accounts, the sightings of caped figures and mystery satellites. But I know there are no superheroes. They abandoned us, left us to die here at the end of the world. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in them. So here we got a cityscape, very dirty, gritty. Love how the lines were cut through. Just beautiful. And so we continue here. So clap your hands together and say after me, there are no such things as superheroes. They all went away. This man is looking out of his apartment. Love this here. Jesus, when did I start talking to myself? And he just says, signs and wonders. Harry, says another, says the wife off panel. Are you okay? Is everything okay? There hasn't been anything on the news, has there? He says, I'm fine, honey. I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about that guy from today, Mentallo. That's all. So Grant Morrison's writing is a little, it's big picture writing, and each issue may not make too much sense, but when read all together. So what I would suggest is when it's done, um, if you kind of don't understand it, just go read the whole thing together in one sitting, or listen to the videos. Grant Morrison is a really good writer. He's just oh, I don't know how to describe it. I've always tried to describe it. I always find that words fail me. It's not weird, but it's um, not necessarily um, clear, or it's an overall. When he writes for the overall story. So so he says here, go back to sleep, sweetheart. I remembered my dream. I was standing in a graveyard, and the priest was telling me how somebody had burned two tiny little people in cigarette packets. That's just crazy, isn't it? Um, oh, the last other thing I was gonna say is just, if anything, just enjoy Frank Quietly's art because I think it's just beautiful. Um, So she continues, "You don't think there's really going to be a war, Harry, do you? I can't watch the news anymore. Little children and animals dying in the forest, burning." Ah, that is so true. It's actually heartbreaking when you think about it in the today's context, seeing everything going on in this planet. Hey, says the husband, they'll find a way out of it. Now do something for me. Get yourself some sleep and don't drive yourself crazy worrying about this stuff. And he gives her a kiss on the cheek here. I'll try. Harry, did you feed Peter? I think I've been forgetting. I keep forgetting everything. I couldn't stand it if something happened to him because of me. I was scared because he looked a little sick a day or two ago, but he seems fine now. That's her fish here. Are you kidding me, baby? That old Petey, you're talking about that goddamn fish that'll outlive us all. And so again, we got I don't want there to be a war. I don't want my wife to die. Rain falls on the monkey house. The inmates are screeching and tearing one another apart. Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's listening to the ultrasonic shrieks of our signal belts. I don't believe in superheroes. They abandoned us to our fate. They all went away. So, after the fact, part 3. All but one. And so here we have Flex Mentallo. This how can you not love Frank quietly? This is just so friggin' cool. I'm covering this because I'm a huge fan of his, and I think Morrison and Quietly make beautiful comics together. So we got some vertical panels here. I'm still alive, haha. I'm scared now. So we've been kind of following this guy here. No. So we're having a one-sided conversation. We don't know if anything what's being told from the other from the other receiver. He's been talking on this thing like it's a phone. Um so no, that's not what I meant. No, I mean I was talking about sorry. No, I mean, I was just talking about I've just fucking taken all those pills and I'm going to fucking die and my head's exploding with all this stuff. Comics, all these comics and superheroes. It's just getting horrible. Now it just feels sick, like that place with the little boys in the circle and that hand, whose the fucking hand is that and shit. What was I talking about? What's happening to me? So this is the part where people kind of go crazy on Morrison and they're like, "What?" Again, I know that it seems weird. You just have to stick through it. This is why Morrison, even though he's immensely popular, his when he does his um adult things, it just a lot of people just don't buy it because it just goes on a different level versus when he does just normal superheroes. And even that's like, have you read New X-Men? Eventually through my X-Men, I'm eventually going to get to New X-Men, but Morrison's stuff is that X-Men run was something. I'll say that it was something. First 3 issues were with Frank Quietly though. He did a couple of them, but and so we got a priest here. Thou knowest, Lord, the secrets of our hearts. Shut not thy merciful ears to our prayers, but spare us, Lord, most holy. And then saying something here. The Book of Common Prayer. So, and he's flipping through it. It's a windy day. You can see everything's kind of just blowing out here. Strange, isn't it? Children, perhaps, burying birds or mice. It's just see the detail on the little carved stones. Very odd, continues the preacher. And then now we're looking at this guy holding the the goldfish here. Wasn't I right, Petey? You outlive us all, you little bastard. What are we gonna do now? You and me, what are we gonna do? Shit. So he lost his wife here, and you can see cancer. Goddamn cancer. So, all right, and so now we move on. Hoaxer, so that's this guy here. Visitor for you. The lieutenant here wants a few words. Try not to make them four-letter ones, asshole. I got a hell of a big stick here. So, hope I'm not interrupting your, what'd you call that anyway? Occupational therapy? And he's floating here. I guess I was just trying to hoax my way out of this dump. Implicit in the design of any prison is the means of escape. From that prison, that's what I think, Lieutenant. And so the guy goes, and you were going to do it with a toothbrush, a shoe polish tin, and a copy of National Geographic? And the hoaxer says, sure. All it takes is the right combination of elements, a bit of persuasion, a little misdirection of attention. It's easy. So you can make people accept anything as anything else. Smell the flowers, feel the breeze, hear the waterfall, believe it's your life. It's all a hoax, Lieutenant. So great panel here. So the hoaxer is the way he's looking at it, it makes you think that this is real, but this is at least how he's perceiving it. So, and so he goes, continues here. The sunlight is the glint of a bare bulb on polished tin. The fresh smell of clean water is residual peppermint paste on the toothbrush. The visuals are all courtesy of National Geographic and your own responses to the cover photograph. It's easy. I heard your wife died. Heard it on the grapevine, jungle drums. And he goes, brain tumor. Let me ask you something, hoaxer. What's the biggest hoax you ever pulled off? And he says, well, wouldn't you like to know? And so we're moving on. So this is what I mean. There's also nothing telling you. There's in the in the 60s, 70s, and even the 80s, you had writers kind of setting up the scene, giving you a little exposition. A lot of this modern storytelling that started happening in the 90s, there's zero exposition, and you're meant to figure things out. So it's a little bit on the other side. So in the 80s, people were critical on the writers because they were giving you too much stuff. Like if you look at Chris Claremont run on X-Men, by the way, I have a playlist covering Chris Claremont's run. Feel free to check that out if that interests you. Whereas he would write and tell you everything. These new writers that started coming in the 90s were giving you too little information and just moving on. If you look at Warren Ellis during the Stormwatch and then leading into the Authority, Mark Miller, Grant Morrison, all these writers just started uh, giving you less exposition. So you had to really concentrate. So it could be a little confusing or off-putting here. So, and so this guy continues here. People say to me, fans, they say to me sometimes, where do you get your ideas from? Fuck, this really is kicking in. Yeah, for the songs. Where do I get my ideas for my songs? Yeah. And so here we have this lady walking through. Why does it seem so scary? Where do ideas come from? Why is that so scary? That's not really a girl, is it? She must be mad. Where does she get her ideas from? And so we're moving on, probably going backwards here. You talk about love, you write about love, you sing about love, anything to avoid actually feeling it, says this woman. So he's remembering. And so, oh, watch out. My dad's shouting at my mom. My girlfriend's shouting at me. It's the same old shit. It never stops. And so you can see here these guys. Very Dark Knight Returns, actually. The way that these guys are being drawn here. Love the shadows that are being, man, oh man. So, and so he continues, I just let her walk out. Maybe I can get a song out of it. No matter how shitty things are, you can always get a song out of it. Hello, are you still there? I can't hear you. Christ, is that you? It felt like years. I was out there for years. Did that girl get raped or did she turn into the sister of Satan and kill everyone? I wish I'd seen that. Was I telling you about those political bookshops my dad used to take me? What was I saying? So again, that this can be off-putting. So we just kind of have to bear with it. Like I said, if his writing kind of turns you off, just enjoy these beautiful pictures by Frank Quietly because they truly are beautiful. Those terrible band of zombies, when you're a kid, they just look like comics at first, but they're not. They're all the screaming Hiroshima faces burning cities. I used to imagine God was a skeleton and the thunder was the sound of his big black iron train. War, apocalypse. They were like comics from hell. Oh, sorry. It really fucked me up. What? Something really fucked me up. Imagine the light of the missiles in the rain. People sleeping in their beds, pets whining. Imagine having to think about that shit all the time when you're a little kid. Even mom and dad were scared of the bomb. What could you do? Where could you run? First time I read the word oblivion was in a comic story, the fleshless ones. It was black and white comic, an adult comic. Constant terror for 2 weeks. Convinced that horrible creatures from the subway were wearing my parents' skins. Nowhere was safe. There was no one you could trust. Sorry, I knew I shouldn't have read those adult comics. I used to dream about the end of the world all the time. It peaked when I was a teenager, just like my comic habit. So, look at this here. What a beautiful panel this is here. That's what I remember. Hot summer nights, sweltering in my bedroom, reading comics, and dreaming out and drawing while life went on outside of the window. Imagine a jail cell, yeah, a fallout shelter, where the walls are covered with so many drawings you can't tell it's a prison anymore. It's so bright and colorful. Sexy girls, handsome muscle men, adventures. You start to forget it's not real. You you don't realize the world's ended you. Hot days and nights in jails, drawing thunder girls for her tits hanging out of her top or supernova masturbating in the light up end of the solar scepter. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Who needs girls when you've got comics? I wish I could be sick. I wish I could be sick. Uh, I could sick it all out. Oh, my apologies. Again, it's just the weirdness of it. So we just kind of have to keep going here. Another good panel here. Frank Quietly is so good. Um, the world did end. Something happened to me. Something worse than the bomb. It all died. It just takes me long to catch up. Alone in the world, alone in my room. So part of the frustration I think a lot of people had was that this is supposed to be a flex mentallo, and so far in this we had one splash page, and that's been about it. So we have throughout the series his. It hasn't been very much about Flex Mentallo. It's been about all this weirdness, which is what frustrates a lot of people. So, um, but I always say you just gotta let Frank Miller, sorry, Grant Morrison cook. Um, now the superheroes are just sorry. Now the superheroes are as fucked up as the fucking rejects who write about them and draw them and read about them. All the heroes are in the therapy, and there's no one left to care about us. No one at all. And so, here we have Flex now. Saving the world sure does get more complicated all the time. In the old days, I'd have found my missing ally. The fact had a team up against Shuckaroo or Dr. Vague and made it back home in time for a date with my girlfriend Dolores. Now I was knee deep in conspiracy to destroy the world. I had to find the teleport tube that would take me to the headquarters of the ultimate super team. And if I couldn't get a distress signal to the Legion of Legions, the Earth would perish. I just absolutely. How can you not love this writing? Strange how the sewers seem so much darker than when I fought Lars Lotus, War Warrior here. Strange how I found myself questioning my own sanity and trying to find rational explanations for past weird adventures. And so, again, uh, we see all this weirdness here. My powers of muscles mysteries are useless in the crazy world where mental gladiators meet in a clash of ideas. If Walter Ego can't defeat the alien tree warrior here, Earth will become just one trinket in their cabinet of tiny worlds. And so here you can see him thinking E equals MC squared. And think as hard as you like, Earthmen. You'll never be my intellectual equal. I, the counting tree. So, lots of weirdness. I sure could have used the powers of Walter Ego's X ray mind down there. He once reasoned that in a complete darkness, people and objects would cast shadows as clear light, and it was this uh, deeply held conviction that allowed him to see in the dark. Fortunately, I'd kept the syringe containing the mystery drug crystal, hoping to have it analyzed in an attempt to prevent the deaths of more youngsters. You can never tell when something might just turn into a plot device. Faculty X, and um, maybe this. I was thinking maybe this was backwards, but nope. They're just saying gibberish here. So they throw away these bombs at him. You can see that there. So they were wavering and uncertain, like figures seen in a dream. Were they large and organized group, or were they only one man pretending to be dozens? So you can see that land and finally kabloosh. I should have known they weren't real bombs. The bombs that Faculty X used to destroy not objects but certainties. What's your rating, Muscles? This show is for adult superheroes only. Nevertheless, I knew for sure I had to go inside. So, uh, like I said, this is only 4 issues. We're in issue 3, so. And so you can see there's some kind of orgy kind of going on here. Imagine vampire Amazons in wet looking thongs and a shy secretary stripping down to her black vinyl costume, gunsmokes and spent caps, and multi boy in his new fucking costume. That's what it's all about. That's why I'm here. What? I'm Flex Mentallo. No, he's a superhero. I made him up when I was a kid. No, I just feel sick and disorganized. I shouldn't be on this world. I've been born on the wrong fucking planet. It's ah, there's a girl in my hand. I'm sick. It's my girlfriend. And so she goes, um, sorry. The girl says, I'm sick. I'm getting so sick of this. Are you going to do the usual and just sit there and say nothing? Why don't you say anything? You never say anything, she says. So, and of course, the guy is remembering here. He says, I do, because he's saying everything through his music, but um, I don't know. It's so deep. All the stuff Morrison's saying, it's just yeah, so deep. So, I must have forgotten my word. Fuck. What's the magic word? That's what I need to know. The word that turns you from a stupid boy to a superman. Uh, Little me in a bird's nest boat, lost in the unknown sea. That is cool. Here. What's worse than the bomb? There are people in this alley watching me. I'm not hallucinating them. They're always watching me, but now I can see them. What's the word? And so here we see this guy here. What's the word? What's the word? And he's giving him this phone slash toy car here. And so the cop guy continues talking to the hoax here. My name's Peter. My wife called him Peter. Him and her. Him and her. How would I know? He's a goddamn fish, and his name is Peter. She loved that fish. I couldn't tell her when he died, so I had to run to the pet store and buy a new one. I lost count after Peter number 5. Fact is, that fish got changed more often than the water. Guess that's my little hoax, huh? You okay there? So part of the thing is that Morrison's dialogue isn't quite the particularly in this story, it's not the way people really talk. It's people are just not used to this, and I think that it just goes over some people's head. That's why I always say you just got to read the whole thing and then kind of reread it, and it just starts to make a little more sense. So I thought I saw something. Nice place you got here, Lieutenant. And the cop says, "Don't fucking patronize me. This place ain't fit for a pig since my wife died. And call me Harry, for Christ's sakes. We're partners now, right?" "Eye of the beholder, Harry. Maybe I see things you miss. Partners. Why me?" And he says, "I'm not sure why you call it a cop's intuition if you want. Listen to that." So, is the radio here saying, "Seas boiling, moon's bleeding." You hear that? There's nowhere to run and hide anymore. We gotta stand up for something. I want you to help me find Flex Mentallo. He can't save the world on his own. And so a trope of his is this is like a sigh, like, that's what this is supposed to be. So they used to just write out sigh, but not anymore. Um, I don't. So sorry. So he says, "Don't think I've ever saved the world before. Be nice to try," he says. And so we're back now at that club thing. "Check your coat, sir." He Man. And so they're taking off his coat here. "Oh, I'd like to see him up against Hercules. Hercules and Samson. Hee hee," says. And so Flex Mentallo continues here with some exposition. "Beads of sweat broke out almost immediately. The underground palace was too hot, the air thick with sweet smoke and crackling ooze. So it must be humid in there. Strange thunders from high in the ceiling, flashes of twinkling light, and old film as super speed beings mated with their own after images. I was trying hard to breathing the narcotic vapors of spectral Avengers and hailing Ghost Girl's blue clouds of incense and ectoplasm incurring into my brain. The room was spinning. I was there with Flex. I'm there." So we are um we're kind of telling two stories here. So again, we don't know what's real, what's not. So things begin to get blurry and strange. These are people everywhere. Sorry, there are people everywhere wearing clothes like flags and undiscovered countries, sun emblems, clouds and lightning bolts, flaming hearts. The white the white nun in leather with her cross earrings and exploding Thurby. So that's this one here. That's actually kind of cool. That's a really cool costume. Grasshopper Girl and Skyline and Vampire X, or is that Vampire Triple X? So that is cool. I really like that nun outfit. Baby blue and powder pink teen ultra girls, giggling gold taps running, filling baths with champagnes. Bubble bath, that's what it's all about in the end. When you come right down to it, Lucius snake bitches in red rubber, sexy telepaths stripping your mind naked. Frederick Wortham was fucking right. That's the guy who did the Seduction of the Innocents. So, Orca Jr. in a suit of skin tight black and white plastic, breathing on the polished leather seats of a black and chrome amphibious dream mobile with lantern headlamps and jaggled dorsals. Jesus, that was hard to. Fetish dreams of flying women and boy hyper sluts. He's making a commentary on Image Comics. If you can't tell what's going on, is this new era of comic books, and Morrison is making a comment on it, how comics were to comics are now. This is what this is really about, is the commentary on where comics were at that time in the mid 90s. So we continue here. What's it all about? Power porn for retards. Vigilantes racking up the body count. Rape scenes and cutaway costumes. So, sea green muscle men wet from the oceans. Flexible people tied in sex knots. Girl Avengers with bondage suits and bandoliers. All trapped here in the between room, superpowered hopefuls unable to make it past these halls to the secret satellite headquarters of the ultimate super team. One of the Legion of Legions itself, there are only whispers, eerie names on the night wind. Lord Limbo, Turbo Trooper, Felix Tang, King of Kung Fu. And so we see here kind of the metal man here. The query the human mind, intelligent alloys flowing and melting across, shuddering flesh, forming pleasure armor. Invisible women with lipstick pouts drift like butterflies. And so here we go. Outer Boy. And so gee whiz, the rubber suits, the slinky girls and the hard boys, the crime and the punishment. This is actually when you think about it as commentary on the superhero scene at that time, this totally makes sense. The blue blonde Eve Avenger. It's what the queer cavalier. It's what keeps me coming back for more. That and not having a girlfriend. Mandu the mysterious dad. Phantoms the blazer. There's Microbella stripping a microscope slide. There's Zoom in the panther cage. There's the blood group snuff video. Watch Mrs. B.O. and Reese's take on two minor supervillains in a deserted barn. If you ever wondered what human face would look like after tangling with Reese's corrosive claws, today's your lucky day. The Golden Agent. Afterman. And so here you can see them all trying now to seduce him. This is actually also a very awesome one. And more, a swarm of bee women operating with the mind aimed their guns and strapped my face with aphrodisiac stings. And Flex finally screams out, "No, I have to reach the teleport tube. You must let me contact the Legion of Legions or the Gentleman Gorilla. The greatest heroes of countless alternative Earths, the ones who made it past the traps. Something terrible will happen. The last best hope for a doomed world." So we got 4 more pages left here. And so the guy continues here. He's having just a breakdown here. Zap, pow, look out. Comics aren't just for kids anymore. Fuck it. Fuck it. Multiple universe converging. Mustn't let them touch. Oh, look. He's seen me. Oh, fuck. I don't want to die. So, guy's having a breakdown here. Because listen, when it all comes down to it, how could you love anybody the way you loved Thunder Girl? You try and it's like heaven. But it's only like heaven if it's not heaven, is it? What's like heaven? Shit, oh shit. They fuck you up. These comics, they really fuck you up. Something. And so he's here trying to pull. So we're just kind of moving along. So kind of gives you a bit of a like, oh my god, there's so much happening in these things. It really is hard to make sense of it. This is why they require rereads and looking at them. These are comic books that can be enjoyed in so many multiple layers because you gotta read them to really make sense of these. So I can't stop it, but I've still got things to explain. I was almost there. Something happened worse than the bomb. I'm dying. Worlds colliding and imploding. So you can see here, I love this thing. Kind of him as ready to puke. Just that's just. And so I'm blind, turning to ash. It's here. It's somebody. Help me. It's too big. And so we see like an atomic explosion here. I can't look at this. It wasn't a dream. It was real. This was fucking real. I remember it now. They're watching this little. The wash house. It wasn't a wash house. And he's like puking again. Aliens. I was abducted, or maybe it's like I was abused or something. Oh, fuck. I'm going to turn around and see who's holding my hands. I'm not scared. Even if it's my uncle. Oh, fucking E.T. Turn around. I'm not. Oh. And then he kind of falls down, continues to puke. Scared, let me die. I don't want to. And then he pukes again. I don't want to. Who's holding my hand? And he looks away. Hello? No, no. This is fucking impossible. No way. No. He starts to cry here. And we get to the last page here. Welcome to, what shall we call it? Where you get your ideas? Remember. And so we are going to go into the last issue here, but if you're confused, that's okay. Just enjoy the pretty pictures, and hopefully when I do issue 4, which is the last, this is only a limited series. So if you hated this, that's okay. It's only 4. It's not a continuing story. Hopefully it'll make sense once the 4th issue is done, but we end with this beautiful, absolutely beautiful splash page. So Flex Mentallo number 3 from 1996 by Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly, who is a superb artist. Um, if you're not enjoying this, I totally understand. I doing this story for me because I truly just enjoy Frank Quietly's art, and I really do dig this Flex Mentallo. So, um, I hope you are liking it though. But like I said, if you don't, that's okay. And if you could just give it a like, even if you hated it, that's okay too. So, um, thanks for listening. Goodbye.